All right, fellas, let's move on to some football. Harrison, you will go first. What are your thoughts about Aaron Rodgers? Finally, we can put this to bed. Him going to Pittsburgh.
It's gonna be the same thing with Russell Wilson. We're not are we gonna be surprised at this point? Like Aaron, we already know about this. Aaron Rodgers is a cancer to like any team in the NFL. We can all agree on that. But right now, this is gonna be the Russell Wilson technique. People are so hyped that yeah, we got Russell Wilson. Yeah, we're gonna go make the playoffs. Yeah, you did make the playoffs, all right. First round exit. There you go, back in Cancun. And it's gonna happen again. Aaron Rodgers. How many times have I been talking about Aaron Rodgers? Ever since he went to the Jets. A lot. So you know what, Rodgers? If you want to have your moment, that one shiny moment with Pittsburgh, go right ahead. But right now, you're 41 years old. You're about to be 42 pretty soon. You came off from an Achilles tear, and it's cooked. You're cooked, dude. And listen, I don't care. You're still going to be a 500 team either way. You guys are going to go 9-8 and probably miss the playoffs or barely make the playoffs either way. Because you know why? Because Mike Tomlin is such a tremendous head coach. You have no idea. And honestly, if you want to deal with another cancer to a team, DK Metcalf, have fun with him. But right now, it's so stupid. It's just like, why, Rodgers? Just hang it up. Just hang up. That's it.
BRF or champ?
I'll take this one if you
I'll
don't
go.
mind. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, have at it. No, you go.
Okay.
No, you go for it, champ.
The biggest form of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results. That is the true definition of insanity. Doing the same things and expecting different results. I cannot say I want to lose weight and then go to the crab buffet every day. I'm just being real.
I mean, yeah, you're being real.
I can't say, hey, I want to lose weight, but every time you look at it, like, damn, champ, you at the crab buffet again, choking down all you can eat shrimp all the time, brother. Come on, Pittsburgh, stop doing this. This is enough is enough. Every year you draft great receivers, you draft great linebackers, you draft great running backs, you draft great DBs, great defensive line. You're one of the greatest drafted teams in history. Matter of fact, the most Hall of Famers come from the Pittsburgh Steelers. The most. At one point in the 70s, you had 13 Pro Bowlers on one team. At one point in the 90s, although you didn't make the Super Bowl, you had several Hall of Famers on that team, that being Kevin Green, Greg Lloyd, Rod Woodson. You had a lot of Hall of Famers on that team. Quarterback, I always say the greatest position, the most important position in offensive line is offensive line. I stand by that. But you're not going to win with mediocre quarterback play. And you know what is not going to win with a locker room cancer like a depleted Aaron Rodgers. Now, if this was 2015, hey, that's Aaron Rodgers at his peak. He's not that no more. You would have been better off just saying, hey, Will Howard, we're going to hand you this keys to the Porsche, and we'll see what we can do. And if you flame out, then guess what? We got a draft pick next year. We got a lot of quarterbacks coming out next year that we can pick from. You mean to tell me this? You're going out and picking up Aaron Rodgers, who had a very, very mediocre year. In fact, Zach Wilson won more games in New York than Aaron Rodgers.
It's just sad.
Zach Wilson, who has been labeled a bust thus far in his career. And has lack of maturity. And you just had a draft class that just passed you by. You didn't bother to go get Jackson Dart. You didn't bother to trade up to go get Cam Ward. You didn't bother to trade up to go get Dylan Gabriel. You could have had Shedeur Sanders. Instead, you drafted Will Howard, and you're not even going to hand him the keys to the car. You're going to bring in a washed Aaron Rodgers. If there's anything that could cost Mike Tomlin his job, it's dealing with DK Metcalf and dealing with Aaron Rodgers. And if they get off to a very, very slow start, which I'm hoping they're not, if they get off to like an 0-4 start, mark my words, start looking for the comments about the potential of firing Mike Tomlin.
Ooh. I don't think Tomlin's going to get fired, though.
I think he should.
With Aaron Rodgers Aaron Rodgers is a cancer. He's going to eat away this team. He's going to eat this team alive.
Oh, yeah, he's going to eat. Yeah, he is. He is.
And you already have an overly emotional wide receiver in the form of DK Metcalf. That's why they got rid of George Pickens, because they couldn't deal with both of them.
And plus Aaron Rodgers was working out with DK Metcalf. There were times of them working out in the offseason. But Champ, you stole, as you always say, great minds think alike. Because you stole exactly what I was going to say. And I'll say this. After this season, the Pittsburgh Steelers need to fire Mike Tomlin. You talk about the standard, Champ. It's not good enough to have all these winning seasons. It's not good enough to barely make the playoffs. And what? It's time to let go of Mike Tomlin, because after 18 years, now if this were Belichick who won you 5-6 Super Bowls, hey, fine. At least I had a reason to keep him all these years, regardless of what you want to say about him regarding Spygate, Deflategate, whatever. But with Mike Tomlin, and not only that, he's known for being a player's choice champ, but at the same time, look at all the controversial players you've had around your time. From Antonio Brown, Antonio Holmes, Juju Smith-Schuster, Claypool, George Pickens. You had to deal with Ben's off-the-field issues during that time. And we already know about one incident, particularly in Milledgeville, Georgia. But Champ, to me, you got to move on from Mike Tomlin. And if you want to go back to the glory days of being what you once were, because before New England tied it, you had the most Super Bowls. Before New England won their 6th Super Bowl, you had the most Super Bowls. I think you need to move on from Mike Tomlin. And with Aaron Rodgers, I don't care. To BRF, and BRF may agree with me or not, I'm tired of talking about Aaron Rodgers. Kind of like how he's tired of talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Because really, we knew he was going to go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We knew that Mike Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers, they wanted to work with each other. The Jets, it was a failure. It was a failure in New York with the New York Jets, because we kept hearing, if we had a quarterback, this is going to be the guy.
No,
not even close. And Aaron Rodgers was okay. He was okay. He was not the Aaron Rodgers of old. I agree with you, champ. If this were Aaron Rodgers back to his glory days in Green Bay, hell, Pittsburgh, you did your homework. You got yourself a top-tier quarterback. Mm-hmm. But you get in an old car, a used car, done, burnt. He's burnt like toast. Move on. He's like mac and cheese that's burnt already. Throw it in the trash. Why would you want to pick up a 41-year-old quarterback that is about to be 42 years old, that is known for having problems and divas, problematic and being known for a diva, and he's becoming more like his predecessor, Brett Favre, every single time?
The thing is, like I said, Pittsburgh, you've been doing this cycle all over again. It's been a revolving.
It's been going on ever since Ben Roethlisberger retired. It just
exactly. And you kept him too long.
They
And
haven't
you
won a playoff game since 2016. Since 2016. Because remember, the following
Damn.
year, they lost to Jacksonville in the divisional round. 2018, 2019, they missed the playoffs. 2020, we know what happened when they got embarrassed by their little brothers, the Cleveland Browns. They got embarrassed the following year against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Not
Can't
surprised.
remember if they made the playoffs. No surprise there. I can't be surprised. I don't know if they made the playoffs in 2022. I don't remember.
I don't think so, but I might be wrong.
Right. 2023, they lost to the Buffalo Bills. No shame to that. You lost to the Ravens. Okay, we expected that. But Pittsburgh, you got to let go of Mike Tomlin. And I understand Mike Tomlin is a black head coach, and there are not too many black head coaches in the NFL. And I understand he's never had a losing record under his watch. But at the same time, you said it yourself, champ. My standard. Pittsburgh, if this were Cleveland, if this were Detroit, if this were some moribund franchise that had Mike Tomlin, I can understand why. Or Cincinnati, because hell, you kept Marvin Lewis all these years, even though he never won one playoff game. But Pittsburgh, you have a rich history of Super Bowls and great players and everything else. And Mike Tomlin has to go. And we talk about how great a leader he is, but at the same time, look at the controversial players that he's had. That speaks to him as a coach as well. Because if you're allowing this type of behavior, then what does that say about you, essentially?
Are you really a player's coach at a certain point, or are you just an enabler at a certain point?
I think he's like the scapegoat personally, but here we are now in 2025. I feel like here's the thing. I don't want Tom. I feel like sorry, Chip, but like I just don't think that. God, it's just like you're right, but at the same time, they're not. They're not going to fire Mike Tomlin. That's the thing about it, because how many? Ever since Big Ben retired, they did Kenny Pickett. Now they're going to do Aaron Rodgers. Rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins. Dwayne Haskins, by the way, rest in peace to that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mason Rudolph, like twice.
Yeah.
They use whatever his name. After Big Ben got injured in 2019, they used Duck Hodgins. I mean, I can name like so many quarterbacks off my freaking hand right now because there's so much shenanigans in Pittsburgh.
Again, if you have a rich history like a Pittsburgh, and you know for drafting these great players, and you can get great players out of nowhere, and you know the problem is the quarterback position, then it's time to take a risk.
And you're taking a risk right now. You're taking Aaron Rodgers right now.
That ain't the kind of risk I'm gonna take. That's kind of
I know this is a bad risk. This is the bad risk. But at the same time,
the risk I'm talking about, Harrison, is buying a brand new car right now in this economy. A brand new car. The risk that we're talking about, what the Pittsburgh Steelers just did, is buying a 2010 BMW right now that has over 100,000 miles on it. That's the type of risk that they just took. They just bought a BMW from CarMax that's 2000. That's a 2010 that has over 100,000 miles. And just because they painted it and gave it a nice paint job, now they're going to take a risk. That's not the type of risk that you take. That is a car right now, Aaron Rodgers, with a lot of mileage on it, with a lot of, and not only that, he needs an oil change all the time. He needs an oil change every 1,000 miles. So that's not the type of risk you take. You take a risk by going to get a brand new car. You're going to make the same payments on it at the end of the day. You're going to have to go through growing pains with it at the end of the day. You're going to have to coach them up at the end of the day. So you might as well trade up and go get you a quarterback or let Will Howard do it. Trying to do this after this young man has burned bridges every single where he's went. Got Robert Saleh fired, and everybody knows it. pushed him. And like we said, me and PSP had a discussion. If that had been any other position other than the quarterback position that pushed a coach, the media would have lost their minds. They would have went mad. But because Aaron Rodgers is a quarterback, they let him get away with it.
And
the thing is, like I said, with these problematic players that he's having, at what point do you say, I'm not a player's coach, I'm just an enabler? At what point do you say, I'm not coaching these players as hard as I need to coach them? It can't be everybody that has a problem. In the past 20 years, you've gotten rid of almost 5 all-star receivers. You've gotten rid of Antonio Brown, Santonio Holmes, Chase Claypool. You've gotten rid of all of those players. At what point do we point back to the coach? At what point?
That tells you the decision-making, champ, and also the Steelers' ownership. That tells you about your lack of judgment as well. The bad decisions that you're making. You mentioned the car situation, champ. Champ, to me, I mean, I'm trying to get a beautiful girlfriend. I'm trying to get me a lotto, and instead I end up getting a Mariah Mills. That's how I feel at this point with the Steelers with Aaron Rodgers.
Why? I want to talk about that topic, but at the same time, we're not in that topic right now.
I can't breathe. Lord have mercy. No, you did just do that. That is. Whew, Lord have mercy.
Oh my God! But
that was priceless.
Well, what do you want me to say, Chip? I tried
to keep it in the car terms, as the BMW stuff. Some people just go get BMWs just to say I got a BMW. But that's what I tried to keep it close to the chest.
You know what it's like? You just like bought it, you buy I feel like it's like a car that can't start. That is what like Aaron Rodgers is right now. He can start, but he doesn't know how to drive. That's how I feel about Aaron Rodgers right now. But Rodgers, if you want to have fun in Pittsburgh, go right ahead. But right now, you're going to be mediocre as frick, as AF.
You can curse, Harrison.
I can. Oh, you can. Oh, wait.
Go ahead. I don't care.
Oh, you're probably going to be mediocre as fuck. But I don't know, man. It's just like.
No, I mean,
is it about time to fire the GM too?
You got to ask yourself if you're Pittsburgh, because if you kept them all this time and if you still making these types of decisions, what does it say?
It shows you that you do have the talent, but at the same time, you still want to put.
In the words of Maya Angelou, the late great Maya Angelou, rest her soul. If someone shows you who they are the first time, believe them. Have we seen this more than once with Pittsburgh?
You know what? And the thing is, the Pittsburgh Steelers, their front office is so media friendly at a certain point. You got to ask yourself this. We give Jerry Jones double hockey sticks for all of the decisions that he's made. Do y'all ever see the media pointing out the crap that the Pittsburgh Steelers have been doing the past couple of years? Because you can best believe this. If Jerry Jones went almost 6 years without a quarterback, a legitimate quarterback on his team, they would eat him alive and spit him out and eat him again in the media. But because it's Pittsburgh, they don't say a word.
But Jerry, on the other hand, you signed freaking Javonte Williams, scrub, Miles Sanders, scrub, and you should have re-signed Rico Dowd, who went to, my team, obviously.
But he got criticized, rightfully so.
Oh, yeah, 100%. They should have drafted Gentry. No, you drafted an offensive lineman.
But to Champ's point,
I like Tyler Booker, though. That I can get with that, though. Tyler Booker's gonna be a good lineman. I'm not gonna knock him for that. That was a good pick on their part.
Well, yeah. Here's the thing, though. They have drafted all the offensive line named Tyler.
Oh well.
That's the thing.
But to Champ's point, though, to Champ's point, as far as with the draft picks and everything else, it's no surprise. And it's no surprise. But to BRF, I know you don't want to talk about this, but you know my audience, they want me to talk about it. Your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh?
In the great words of Bubba Dub, trash. I mean, the writing was on the wall that he was going to go to Pittsburgh, but it's like, I would have liked this move a little more had George Pickens not got traded. But now your only reliable receivers are DK Metcalf and Pat Freiermuth. Shout out to Muth. He's been a heck of a talent since he got drafted, got to Pittsburgh. He's been a heck of a talent. Probably one of the more underrated tight ends out there. But man, I knew it was coming, but even still, like, I saw that, you know, that it was made official and he was signing with him. The only thing I could just say was, damn. I mean, okay, Pittsburgh. I mean, hey, if you, I don't know, hey, if you think you can pull out another 9, 8, 10, and 7, because that's what I feel like it's gonna be. I mean, it'd be one thing if this was like peak of his powers, Aaron Rodgers, who could tow the team on his back and get them and single-handedly get them to the playoffs. And I mean, you know, if you get 20, you get like peak of his powers 2014 to 2016 Aaron Rodgers. You know what I'm saying? You could put anybody back there behind him at running back, and you can have whatever plethora of wide receivers around him, whatever core around him, and he's gonna get you somewhere. But this is not that Aaron Rodgers. This is nowhere near that Aaron Rodgers. And we got to think that New York Jets offense. Just looking at it on paper, it's more talented now than what they got. It's more talented now than what they got in Pittsburgh. And he couldn't do squat. And he couldn't do squat with that with the offensive weapons that the New York Jets have. Now I will say this: the offensive line in Pittsburgh is probably better than what they had with the Jets, but the skill position around them is worse. So it's like it's kind of like you win some, you lose some, you know. So I don't know what I'm expecting from this team. I mean, I feel like this season just might be the ultimate TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith carry job in order for them to really do anything, because like it's not just going to be on TJ Watt. It's going to be him and Alex Highsmith to really, even though they're technically outside linebackers, they really need to be the true bookends of this defense and really set the tone and really get them to where they want to be. I mean, regardless of how we feel about the Aaron Rodgers signing, they want to make the playoffs. They want to give themselves a shot to go for a championship, regardless of who the quarterback is. But I just feel like there's going to be more onus on the defense to really like step up from last year, because they had, I mean, when they were on defensively, but when they were bad last year, they were, oh gosh, they were bad. And on top of that, like the Pittsburgh offense would like, it would come and go. Like they would have games, they would just absolutely run through people. And then they would have games, they would have, your typical Arthur Smith type of called games where it's like stupid play calling and not scoring the amount of points you feel like you should on a weekly basis or on a Sunday. So I don't know what to expect. Like Aaron Rodgers and Arthur Smith, this is going to be an interesting combination to say the least, because I don't feel like Aaron Rodgers at this stage of his career fits what Arthur Smith does. And I'm saying this stage in his career because peak Aaron Rodgers is perfect for the Arthur Smith offense. His ability to move around in his pocket, his mobility, his out of structure ability, just making all the throws. And don't get me wrong, from what I've seen, I mean, the arm strength looked like it's still there. Don't get it twisted. I mean, it's not like what it was. I mean, the arm strength looked like he still got it. He can still chunk it. Don't get me wrong. But the mobility is not there. So it kind of takes away a lot of what Arthur Smith wants to do. And the thing is, he doesn't necessarily have the running back room to really compensate for Aaron Rodgers not being as mobile as he once was. And then, like I said, you trade George Pickens, so your wide receiver room is like DK and Calvin Austin, and I don't, and those are really like the only two recognizable names I know in their receiving core. So it's like, what are you? It's like, where are we gonna go? What are we gonna do? Like, you can't necessarily rely on Mike Tomlin still being a player's coach and still demanding the most out of his players and the players giving it to him. You can't rely on that forever because at the end of the day, you still got to have a good collection of talent in order to do anything and make any type of noise. And this is like astonishing for me to say. This is like one of the least talented Pittsburgh Steelers teams I've seen in a while. And I mean, particularly in the receiving, more so on the offensive side of the ball, because they don't really have really guys on the offensive side of the ball that really scare you. And even honestly, I hate to say it, it kind of includes DK Metcalf to a certain extent. I mean, he's good, don't get me wrong, but he's not putting like the type of just fear in defensive coordinator's heart that you would expect a wide receiver of his size, of his speed, and of his ability. He's not putting that type of fear you would expect a guy like him to put into defensive coordinators every week. So now it's just a matter of who's going to be the guy. Like, can Aaron Rodgers really do this? And honestly, I don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, the first month of the season is going to tell really a lot of the story as far as what the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be in 2025. Because if they start 0-4, I'm kind of like Harrison here. I don't think they're gonna fire Mike Tomlin, but I do think the fans are gonna be like, okay, we get it. Look, I mean, it's almost gonna feel like the fans are gonna kind of say like the writing was on the wall. I mean, you keep doing just enough. You keep doing just enough, and you make it feel like we don't have to really all improve all that much. When in reality, you should have did a lot more than you did in the offseason to really make this team better. So you can't keep getting away with making the playoffs every year. At some point, you got to really take strides to make a team better. And Pittsburgh, I don't know. I don't know what to expect from them. I still think. I mean, are they still the third best team in the AFC North? I think they're the third best team in the AFC North right now. I think they're behind Baltimore and they're behind Cincinnati. I mean, can being third in the AFC North get you into the playoffs? I mean, we've seen it happen before. I don't know about this year though, because this Pittsburgh team to me isn't as good as a lot of those other teams have been. So, gosh, hey, more power to them. I mean, if they think Aaron Rodgers can find some of that magic and get them to the promised land, then by all means go for it. From what I saw with the Jets having a more talented offense, I don't see it. I just don't see it.
This doesn't make any sense. I mean, other than attention, other than Aaron Rodgers getting his clicks and whatever, this is a bad move. I'm sorry. I'll use the analogy and I'll use it again. I just came from all these divorces and all these relationships. I want a top tier person, and I end up getting a Mariah Mills.
Jesus Christ.
That's all
Real Mary. Real Mary.
I wanted Scarlett Johansson. I wanted any type of woman, and I end up getting Mariah Mills. That's what
they thought they were getting perfect teeth, and they ended up with wisdom.
Wow, thanks.
These are
I got
elf.
my wisdom teeth out a couple months ago.
Fellas,
praise the Lord, Jesus. Oh God.